Hello, everyone. In the previous video, we talked about how to adjust some display settings in the 3D window. You can see these icons in the row, there are separators. In this video, we will continue from the previous one to talk about the camera and rendering, as well as the buttons below, including play. This section has a play button, which, when clicked, you can see the character can pause and more. And you can move frame by frame. These are related to playback. Then, this is to stop playback. It returns to the character's bind pose, so pausing stops it, while stopping returns it to the bind pose. It's something like this. This frame rate can also be switched to seconds and frames. The speed can be adjusted. You can see if it's set to a higher value, it will play at a faster speed. If you slow it down, you can also use the scroll wheel. For example, if we set it to 0.5, you can see it walks very slowly. Then, this loop option is for when you import into Maya or Max. It's adjustable. For example, in this walking animation, it's set to only one loop by default, right? If it's more, you can add more loops in Maya and Max when importing. Okay, these are related to playback. After pausing, you can adjust the time range. You can see it can play within this range. These settings are flexible, and overall, it's quite intuitive. Okay, let's bring it back. Set this back to 1. This is about the playback options, and now, let's talk about camera and rendering. The first two buttons here are about the camera. The first one is Camera Follow. Camera Follow means that the camera follows the character. You'll notice that as the character moves, the ground moves along with it, and the character remains in the center of the 3D view. If we disable this option, you'll see that the ground stays still, and the character moves away. This can be useful for certain actions, where it's easier to observe the character's motion. This is an overview of this function. With this option enabled again, you can see that the ground moves along. The button next to it resets the view to the initial state. For instance, if you've zoomed in too far and lost track of your character, clicking this button will bring it back. It is the basic explanation of this feature. And now, let's talk about the next 3 buttons related to 3D view rendering. If you like a particular angle when viewing an animation, let's say this pose looks great, and you want to render it as an image or GIF, you can do so within the 3D view. You'll see that it re-renders the resource cover, and you can export it as a GIF. Now, let's talk about the trim animation function. If you find an animation to be too long, for example, this one, and you want to shorten it, like this, if you wish to shorten it, you can loop within the desired range. This trims the animation directly. As you can see, the frame count went from over 70 frames to just 15 frames, and it also re-renders the cover. This is an automated process, and you can also revert it if you accidentally trim it. You can use this button to undo it. This will also re-render the cover again. That's an overview of the playback, camera-related features, and rendering. That's all for now regarding these functions. So, that concludes our discussion of the playback, camera, and rendering features. Thanks for watching. See you next time.